your capacity, building your capabilities and your capacity. Sitting here, for me, this is quality leadership coming from a black woman. You answer questions properly, you give us information, well articulate. There will be more challenges. They come inherently with being a female leader. We all have, issues that we might not have handled properly. It's part of growth. It's part of becoming more experienced and then dealing with matters differently going forward. And when you live here, this should never, I heard you saying I'm very angry, it must never be one of the issues that are going to distract you from fighting crime and fighting corruption. You came here, we shared that information with you. On a hindsight means I'm more clever now, and you should take it in that spirit and continue to fight. I thought Winnie Mandela died, but Winnie Mandela has multiplied. Thank you very much.
That's a degree in engineering, industrial engineering. Do you see that?
I see that.
So already she meets the qualification. Now go to the next page on 271.
I see that.
Are you there?
I am there.
Now that's a diploma in not mechatronics. Now what is the relevance of that? That is the core description of this role. If you go back to the advert on 176, you will see that the core functions, what crime intelligence was looking for, is exactly this qualification. Because the description of the role tells you that they want somebody who's qualified in mechanics and electronics and all of those. Do you see those?
I see that,
Yes.
Commissioner.
Now, from 270, I don't want to show her matric certificate.
No,
it's not
yes.
fair to Ms. Mukwele, but it's on 272. Please don't flight it. It's quite clear that this is somebody who is very bright. I must say this to you. Before I saw these files, the picture painted in my head was that crime intelligence appointed a receptionist from BMW. That's the picture I had in my head. Until I saw these files, then it became clear to me that this person is not just qualified, but her qualification exceeds the requirements. Now, from 273, which we can flight, it's about 12 certificates that I've counted. Because one of the requirements was that you must be familiar with computers, you must be familiar with finance, you must be familiar with how the public service works. So there's a series of them. I counted about 12. Cybersecurity being one of.
You are being,
Without-
if I may come
Sorry.
in, no. You are being grossly unfair to Mrs. Mukwele. Now you are attributing conduct of persons she has no knowledge of to her in the future know-how. And you are saying you accept that she may be required to access those funds in the course of execution of her job. But the impression you create here at this 25.3 is that she would do so to loot. So that apology that I think you sought to extend to her, you might as well take it back. You are seriously impugning her credibility, and we're trying to find the basis on which you say she was going to loot.
Investigative Directorate Against Corruption, IDEC head Advocate Andrew Johnson, has considered that the portions of her testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee were inaccurate, attributing the mistakes to inadequate preparation before she appeared. Johnson made the admission on Thursday during her third day of testimony before the Madlang Commission of Inquiry, where she faced sustained questioning from evidence leader Advocate Mahlape Silo SC over discrepancies between her parliamentary evidence and her current account. One of the key issues centered centered on correspondence from Police Minister Senzo Mchunu concerning Member of Parliament Fadael Adams' complaint against crime intelligence. While appearing before Parliament's ad hoc committee, Johnson had insisted she was not at all aware of any letter from the minister. However, under questioning at the commission, she acknowledged that the correspondence had in fact been received by her office, but said she had simply failed to remember it at the time. Johnson was also confronted over conflicting versions of events relating to Adams' Section 27 referral. During her parliamentary testimony, she indicated that she had not received the referral on Thursday. However, she confirmed that her office had received the Section 27 affidavit dated 21 November 2024, which subsequently initiated an internal process culminating in an application for a preliminary investigation under Section 28(13). Explaining the inconsistency, Johnson said she had interpreted the earlier question as asking whether she had personally received the referral directly from Adams rather than whether it had reached IDEC, and said my office did receive the Section 27. That is the position. Selo argued that Johnson's latest evidence differed significantly from her previous testimony, particularly regarding the role played by Minister Mchunu and the sequence of events that led to IDEC's investigation. The latest admission comes after 2 days of rigorous cross-examination before the commission. On Wednesday, Johnson also acknowledged that IDEC had requested Adams to submit a Section 27 referral against crime intelligence head Dumisani Khumalo, reversing her earlier denial that the request had ever been made. The concession added to mounting scrutiny over inconsistencies in her evidence as the commission continues to examine the directorate's handling of the matter. Johnson also blamed her chief investigator for a critical error that widened the unit's investigation into senior crime intelligence officials beyond the original corruption complaint. Johnson said that the IDEC chief investigator, Dalen Perumal, was responsible for adding extra names to the investigation before she authorized it. This led to the complaint against 3 senior crime intelligence officers, transforming into a full-blown probe involving 8 senior officers and a civilian. The investigation originated from a corruption complaint lodged by NCC leader, Member of Parliament Fadael Adams, whose submission identified only 3 officials. Yet documents before the commission show that by the time Johnson signed the authorization, the number of individuals targeted had increased to 12. Johnson told the commission that additional names did not come from Adams' complaint but were inserted by Perumal. She said his conduct will now be investigated to determine whether he acted outside IDEC's legal mandate, and said I have to get a response from him. If the response is outside of the framework and the legality, it must be then dealt with through the IDEC judge. Her explanation immediately came under attack. Commissioners and evidence leaders questioned why Johnson approved such a far-reaching investigation without first confirming that the names and allegations before were supported by original complaint. Johnson's evidence was further undermined when she admitted that the information she gave Parliament about the same investigation was incorrect. She acknowledged that she wrongly told Parliament's ad hoc committee in November 2025 that she only became aware of Adams' complaint in mid-December 2024. However, documentary evidence before the commission indicates she was informed as soon as the complaint was lodged. Co-Commissioner Advocate Sandile Khumalo confronted Johnson over the contradiction, asking whether the version she gave Parliament was inaccurate, and said this is incorrect, yes, saying her earlier evidence had been based on her recollection and that she had since reviewed the records in preparation for her appearance before the commission. But Co-Commissioner Sisi Baloyi was unconvinced, saying she found it improbable that such a significant discrepancy could simply be explained away as an honest mistake. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.